Hello everyone. In today's lecture series, we are going to see about the Automata Theory and Compiler Design subject, Introduction to the Compiling and Compilers. So, before going into the introduction to the compiler, we have to see about what is the language processing system. So, the language processing system is nothing but how our source code is converted into the machine code. In between, we have several translators. To that translators convert our source code into the absolute machine code, that is a machine understandable code. That is a language processing system. How our high level language is transmitted into the low level languages. So in the language processing system, this diagram shows the flow of our source program is how the source program is converted into the absolute machine level code. So in that, the source program first sent into the preprocessor. That pre-processed our source program. That means that includes some header files. Suppose any mnemonics and any macros needed, macro definitions means that is included in our source program. So the pre-processed source program is output of the preprocessor that is given into the compiler. So what is the job of compiler? The compiler converts our source program into the target assembly level language program. In that, in between that conversions, we are in the compiler, we have several tools. So that is the main part of our subject. So next is after the output of the compiler, the target assembly level program is given input to the assembler. That assembler produces the relocatable object code. That is our mnemonics code is converted into the relocatable object code. So after that assembler, we have the linker and loader translators. That linker and loader translators take the input as a relocatable object code and convert into the absolute machine code. So in that, it link all the code functions of the code into the one single program and convert into the absolute machine code that will be understood by the machine. So this is the how the flow of language processing system is done. So in that, we have several translators. So in that language processing systems, we have translators like preprocessor, compiler, assembler, loader and linker. So what is the translator? The translator translates one level of program into the another level of program. So that is the function of the translator. Here we have a first translator is a preprocessor. The preprocessor processes the source program before it reports into the compiler. So it produces source code file with the pre-processing commands. Probably it's sorted out. So what are all the preprocessor directives that is included in our source programs are that do the file inclusion. That is a header file is needed means that is in header file inclusion, macro definitions, and you do the some conditional directives. These are all the main preprocessor functions is done in the preprocessor. After the preprocessed program is given into the compiler. So the compiler convert our preprocessed high level language into the low level language, that is the assembly level language. So if it is correct means it convert, otherwise it produces an error. So in that compilation, we have several tools to convert our high level language into the assembly level language. Next is the assembler. That the output of the compiler is given into the assembler. That assembler translate the program in written in the assembly level language into the machine code. So next again we have another preprocessor in that interpreter. So in that interpreter means it interpret instead of the compiler we have an interpreter. That compiler compiles whole source program into the one single machine level load program. Interpreter convert our source program line by line into the machine level code. So this is about the language processing system we are having. So next is finally we have a loader and linker. So loader is load our some relocatable machine code into the into the proper places, and link the several functions, several modules into the single level absolute machine code programs. This is the function of the loader and linker. uh, then output of the loader and linker is the absolute machine code. That is our output. That machine code is given into the machine. This is about the language processing system. So in our subject, main objective is how we are going to compile, and what are all the phases of the compiler is the main objective of our subject. So that is the main portion of our subject. So in that compiler, I told that already we have several phases, that our high level language, how it is converted into assembly level language. So in this lecture we've seen only the what are all the tools we are needed to convert our high level language into machine level language. We have 6 phases, that is a lexical analyzer, syntax analyzer, semantic analyzer, intermediate code generator, code optimizer, and target code generation. So the output of the target code generation is the assembly code. So for all 6 phases we are having a symbol table and error handling functionality. So that will be shown in the detailed in the upcoming lecture series. Today's, I hope all you understand that what is the language processing system, how our high level language is converted into the absolute machine level language, and what are all the translators required for that conversions. Thank you.